Welcome to Women Engage, where real women talk about real issues. We're so glad that you could join us today. Our topic for discussion today is the organized woman. If you want to engage in our discussion, please log on to our website, www.ecdadventist.org. Click on Women Engage and get involved in our program. At this time, I want to introduce the panelists that have come to discuss our topic today. I'm going to begin by introducing myself, and I'm going to tell you about something that I struggle with in terms of organization. So my name is Jocelyn Isabidie, and something that I struggle with in terms of organization is managing my time. I find that very difficult. I have so many things to do, and sometimes I don't know how to balance everything, and I end up having to sleep late and to try to manage everything, because organizing my time is always a challenge for me. So that's my personal challenge as an organized or maybe disorganized woman.
Yeah, my own challenge is work-life balance.
I'm Debbie Maloba. I joined Jocelyn. Mine also is time management. I travel a lot. I have to deal with my family, my husband, my children, and my work. Sometimes it's not easy, especially when I do a lot and want to sleep, want to rest. I find myself not sleeping enough. Yeah, I'm struggling, but I know God will help me to come up.
I'm Caroline Coralie. I've been struggling with obsessive compulsive disorder for 18 years, and it annoys my surrounding. And I think it's a negative side, but positive at the same time. And I kind of balance my life according to myself.
I am Miriam Razafia Rivoni. My challenge is also about time, but it's not that I don't have time, it's the way my thinking is. I always overestimate my time. I will say, oh, I have time. And my logic tells me I don't have time, but I tend to think that I have time, and then I end up not having enough time. But it's not the fault of anything, because I have too much to do. It's because it's a mental thing that I always overestimate time.
My name is Yetunde Odeyemi, and what I struggle with, I don't know, I think it's a struggle all the same. When somebody gives me an appointment, I keep that time at the expense of every other thing. I tell myself, if Caroline says meet me at 8, I would meet her at 8, but Caroline can be sure I have left 10 things hanging and waiting. So I try to fit in everything and still make 8 o'clock. But 8 o'clock I will make, but other things will suffer. Yeah.
So it looks like a lot of us have a difficulty with time. Being organized is not easy. It's not easy. And we all struggle with it to some extent. Maybe I want to go back to something that Caroline said, in case there's someone in our audience that is watching. She talked about OCD. And, sometimes we talk about OCD, and I have my own compulsion. Like for me, when I'm doing something, it's hard for me to stop. Even if I know that if I don't stop this activity now, I'm now going to intrude into time that I should have done something else. So sometimes I tell myself, oh, that's, my OCD. But I think that I am not maybe being fair. So maybe for someone who maybe doesn't know what that is, obsessive compulsive disorder, it actually is a mental disorder. It's, we sometimes joke about it, but it's something serious. I don't know, Caroline, do you want to say something more to that, or?
I struggled with it when it started to annoy my family. I'm opposite to most of you. I'm always on time. I get things done. I'm too balanced. I'm too organized. My colleagues say I'm too organized, and I like it, though it will annoy my husband, my daughter, my mom, my family. But it's just that I need things to be
Just so.
Yeah, it's me, it's me.
Yes.
And I like it, though it might bother other people. I tried once, but it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. So my life is like,
Very ordered, very
Yeah.
organized. That's how it manifests for you.
Yes.
Yes. And for those who are extreme and sometimes even need professional help, there are compulsions sometimes that they cannot control. For some, it's cleanliness. They have just a fear of dirt to the extent where it's obsessive. Or others, it's order. Everything must be organized to the point where it becomes unhealthy in terms of dealing with normal relationships and it intrudes in other areas of your life. So we all struggle with organization. Why is it important for women to be organized?
Because we have so much to juggle, so much to do. Whether you are single or married, there is so many things as a woman that is the expectations is that you have to be in the house, and if you are working, you have to be working. If you're in school, you have to be doing just as good in school, and so there's too many hats to wear, and at the same time, it needs to get done. So juggling that takes organization.
Yeah, as women, we have, as Marianne said, tasks to fulfill or to be filled. Now you find yourself, if you are not organized, to carry it out, it will not be easy. But if you are organized, you take it easily and it helps you to move forward. Yeah.
Now, what about some of us who are not naturally organized? Because there are some people like Caroline who are so organized that, it's... And then for the rest of us, it's something that we have to struggle towards. So if I'm not naturally organized, should I just leave it? I mean, that's just not me. What should I do?
That's why I said you will carry it out easily, you see, easily. But if you are not organized, you will struggle. You will spend time.
Waste time.
Yeah. You will even waste time, as Marianne said. But if you are organized, it helps you even to do other things. Yeah.
Angela, you wanted to say something to that?
Yeah, the way the Lord has made us is that He has placed a lot of responsibilities in us as women. So we can't afford to, just live our life like that without being organized. For the men, they don't have to go through pregnancy, carrying the baby in the womb. For a lady, you have to do that. While you are carrying your baby, you have to also do some other things. And so it is important that we have to be organized in order for us to take care of the responsibilities, numerous responsibilities that the Lord has placed in our hands. Children are there to take care of, and the woman is working. So you have to plan yourself, plan your time in order for you to carry out all those responsibilities that we have as women.
So organization is a skill, and it's an essential skill. Yes. So some of us, just like any other skill, some of us it comes naturally, but others we have, to work towards that skill. But it is an essential skill that every woman needs because it helps us to be more efficient, as all of you have said. Some of us were just talking about organizing our time, but actually it's also part of work-life balance. That's an area that is a challenging one. How do we know that we're balanced in terms of our work and life? And by work-life balance, I mean, yes, some of us work professionally, but the female student that is out there, that's their work. Their course is their work. How do they balance that with all the other areas of their life? What about the woman who is a housewife? That's work. That's one of the most difficult jobs on the planet. How do you create that work-life balance?
I think we will do well as women to sort of write out the things you want to do. I know that if you want to be organized, to have a balanced life, make a list of what you want to do, what you need to do each day, and there are some you do not write down. You have a mental list to say, I'm going to do this at this time. And then try and look at your list and prioritize. Don't just say, I have to cook, I have to go to the market, I have... You know, if you write it down, which one comes first? Do you need to do the shopping before the cooking on that particular day? Another thing is that in making your list, it helps you to know. If you have a list, even for the students, you have a to-do list, then you look at it, okay, I'm going to go for classes at this time, I'm going to have to do my computer learning at this time. It helps a lot. I always say that I consider women to be organized and neat when I look at their dressing, number one. And then I visit the toilet in your home. I'm not concerned about the furniture you have in your sitting room. Yes, it's good to have good furniture. It can be expensive. It's okay. But if that furniture is expensive and nobody can step into your washroom, for me, that's a no-no for a woman. While I may not be able to finish my task before going to see somebody for an 8 o'clock appointment, it doesn't mean I would like to leave my things scattered. You know, the next place to look is your kitchen. I like a tidy workstation, let me put it that way, especially in the kitchen. I think the balance may differ for most of us, for everybody, but if you get a list, you can work with your list, learn to work with your list. Don't do a list and throw it away. Do a list, work with it, look at it, and
follow it.
And yeah, follow it, and you would improve as the days go by. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good place for us to pause. So when we come back, we'll talk more about being the organized woman. Welcome back to Women Engage. So just before we went on our break, we were talking about, there's something that Yetunde said about the, God can give us the power to handle everything as women that he puts on our plate. And it just made me think, don't you think sometimes we put things on our plate that God hasn't put there? And that is what sometimes brings a problem for us? Yes. Is everything on our plate God placed?
Maybe sometimes we take responsibility that's not ours, that's not being asked from us to do. But still, it's that longing to do, well, that's me. That you just want everything organized, the life of your child balanced like yours, but I kind of reckon that it's not good because she can't be me. And I pray about it, but I feel like God wants it like that because I fulfill the responsibilities he gave to me like I should do it properly.
But there is also the other side of it, whereby by not being organized, we don't fulfill. And
By
that's
putting too much on our
by
plate.
putting too much precisely on our
Which
plate.
leads us to not being organized.
Exactly.
And then that leads us to not being able to fulfill what we need to do.
Yes, and that one now brings about guilt, brings about being discouraged, and like you were saying, it's because we took too much on us to begin with. But I think also I like the way when you say that it is like we put God into the picture, because I think that whatever He has given us, God gives us things to do, and He enables us, He equips us. So first of all, before starting doing the things, I think we need to pause and realize who we are, because what we do does not define us. What we are defines us, and we are a child of God. So because we are a child of God, then God gives us tasks to accomplish. And then now, in His God, the way He leads us, we can know which one to put on our plate, like you were saying, and which one to say, no, this, like you were saying, I don't take responsibility for that because that's not for me. So I do believe that sometimes the problem is not so much in the organization thing as much as the doing things. We want so much to get done that at the end of the day we find, I was not organized. But I was not organized simply because there was too much to be done, or because I wasn't fit or equipped to do what I imposed on myself to do.
Mm-hmm. So how do we determine how much is too much?
For me, I would say the way to determine, let's take, for example, a lady who is working, and you are a leader, maybe in your office, you are the head, and you have to supervise. But, you know, there are some things we do at that stage that also affects us. We take work home, and then while you are at home, rather than attending to the family, rather than attending to the children, rather than planning yourself so that you have time for your house chores, you carry the work home, and then we're busy with our gadgets, you know, continuing the work that would have left in the office. And then you find some compulsorily, they check their emails even outside the office. And then you have women who will skip holidays, vacation to work. Yeah,
Or
they skip
work on the vacation.
Or work on the
You haven't
vacation.
skipped it.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, am I guilty of that?
Weekend,
Yes.
for some also, weekend, you find them going to the office when they've worked Monday to Friday. And then rather than, you know, attending to some other things, you are so busy. And so we put too much also in our plate, even though we are leaders.
Yes.
Yeah, we carry what we shouldn't carry from the office to the home. So that we also need to watch.
I think that is why the office or the institution, the organization provides you with a job description. Most of the time we want to impress. You see, your being there means you are capable. Let's assume I'm being asked to go teach a subject I know nothing about, and I have agreed to go teach that subject. I will do well to prepare myself each day to be able to fulfill that role, you know, and that will be meeting the job description to say, at this time you teach this, there's a syllabus. In this month, you should have finished this as well. And we do not follow our job description. We want to do every other thing. We want to be seen. We want to impress the overall leader. We think it's our duty to go be nice. One of those things we put on our plates that does not concern us. And it was like a big knock on my head when I realized it. You get to the office in the morning, it's the office. You are not in the office to make friends, by the way. If you find friendship along the way, it's okay. But the basis for working together, it's not the friendship. And we make that mistake. So I come and I sit with Marianne. Oh, Marianne, how are your chickens, your goats, your this, your cat, your car? You know, and the first 1 hour is wasted. And you see it as, I was only being nice. I'm the nice one in the office here. At the end of the day, that 1 hour that I spent talking about chickens and goats and the moon and the sky and the cows, I can't get it back. Then I end up not finishing what I need to do. And so the day I realized it, I started a prayer line for myself to say, Lord, I'm in the office today. Anybody who would come and distract me, keep them away. It may sound harsh, but that does not mean if Debbie comes to ask for my help, I'm not going to throw her away. But I'm not going to go out of my way to go take those extras and put in my plate. Yeah. So people may think, oh, you are too tough in the office, you are too this. But it's quality time that has been allocated to that work, which we need to give to it because I'm going to get a pay for it. And so time wasters are there.
That's true.
Yeah, when you look at it properly, the time wasters are the things that do not... You wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is switch on your television. What do you want it to do for you? It's going to steal your time. Yeah, so we need to look out for our own time wasters. What are my own time wasters? Did I set them by myself? You know, and then we try to shift away from our time wasters. We try to actually not only shift, we pick them out practically and throw them over the fence.
So we can have more time to do the constructive things. And then we won't struggle maybe as much, you know, because Angela brings a very good point about, you know, we have our job descriptions, but we want to fulfill those job descriptions. And sometimes we take the job in one area and it intrudes into our job description in another area.
Yes.
If I'm taking it home, if I'm working over the holiday, which I'm guilty of sometimes, then one job description is intruding on another. And I think sometimes I have to prioritize which job description is more important than another. There's my mother always says that. My father's a workaholic. And I'm not as hardworking as my father, but I think I'm taking too much, you know, on that line. And my mother always says it's good to work hard. But at the end of the day, when you drop dead, someone else is going to take over that job and they will continue to work. And your workmates will cry for one day if you're lucky. If they like you, they'll cry for one day. They'll come and bury you, put you in the grave, and then they'll move on. But the time that we spend with our families, and that's the thing that, you know, sometimes it's a struggle because I have my job description at home, and yet I find I take my work job description and I take it home. And then my being a mother, my being a wife sometimes becomes secondary to my professional life. And yet, is that what I should do? You know, how do I prioritize my job descriptions? Yeah, that's interesting.
You have said it well, Jocelyn. I think now I just get it from where Yetunde has said, priorities. You find yourself, you have a list, but you are not able to do all what you have scheduled. What is the problem? Sometimes we conflict it with other job description, as you said. What we need to do is to avoid those conflicts with my husband. I know I have time for my husband, for my children, even my relatives, my neighbors. Once I'm ready to fulfill it, it will help me even to avoid the conflict. Yeah.
I think, Debbie, you said something that's very profound. I just want to emphasize. She said, what is the problem? I think that's the first thing you need to sit back and ask yourself. If you find that you're struggling with organization, or things are not getting done, or you know you don't seem to have a balance in the things that you, I think it's important to step back and ask yourself, what is the problem? And to seriously self-analyze, what is the problem? Because your problem might not be my problem. We might have different things that are, you know, help intruding on our lack of organization or whatever it is. But I think it's important to ask yourself that question. What is the problem? Why am I not able to organize myself? What's standing in the way? And then once you've identified it, take some real steps, practical steps to address it. Don't just look at it and say, oh, you know, well, but take some practical steps to address it. So as we finish up our program today, ladies, I just want you to think about for maybe the young woman who's watching us today, the student or the working mother or the housewife, whoever it is that's watching us today, if you could think of just a word of advice, something that you could give them about being an organized woman, just a last word that you would leave for them.
Okay, well, organization is key. And because these days you find men before they get married while looking for life partner, one key quality they also look at for is an organized woman. So it is very key. So my advice to the women out there is that we'll learn to factor our personal life into our schedule, or our work schedule, so that we can also take care of issues that deals with the family, while we also take care of issues that deals with our career.
Yeah, organized woman will allow her family to spend a quality time. Because if I'm organized, my family will enjoy whatever I do. We will have time. We will spend even our finances in a good way, and it will profit to everybody. So I need to be organized.
Most of us go to the office from 8 to 5. After 5, I'm a homemaker. I make sure people know after 5, don't bug me with work, because I have other responsibilities which I have to divide. Blessed is he who sleeps 8 hours. I don't. But I enjoy my family. I organize my life. I have a social life. I have a work life. And it's just about putting it in God's hand. And I think, and I'm sure, that's my case, everything falls in place.
I want to say to the women out there who are sometimes wondering what is that whole organization all about, and who are struggling sometimes to get things done, that everything is in God's hand, and you are in God's hand. So take the problem, ask what is the problem, find the things that really is problematic to you personally, and by God's grace, work through it and be able to solve it and see where the crack is and fill it in. And God will bless you for that, and you'll be happy.
I just want to say to the women out there, and I say to myself, that you are not going to be given an award for working through the 24 hours. That is, you are not going to get an award for working non-stop. So I need to tell myself this is the time to stop. But then I must understand what is disturbing me from stopping. What is the problem? At times it's the fear of how will they look at me? How will it turn out? What will my boss say? How will, the fear of the how and the way I will be looked at times dominates and overrides the thinking of prioritizing. But I should not let fear rule my heart. The Lord has said he has not given us the spirit of fear to live with. He says he has given us one of power, of love, and of a sound mind. And so if the Lord is saying to me, he has given a sound mind, then I should put the sound mind into use and get organized and not make excuses of I'm afraid, I don't know what, maybe, no. And I should not get into unhealthy competition. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, our audience, for having joined us today. We've been talking about getting organized. Let's organize our lives. God is a God of order. Some of us, it'll come easy. Some of us will have to work at it. But we can do it because God has given us a spirit of power and a sound mind. So let's organize our lives. Let's pick up the tips that we've learned from our panelists today, and let's sort ourselves out so we can be a better blessing to those around us. Thank you for having joined us today. We hope that you will keep engaging and connecting with us. Go onto our website, www.ecdadventist.org. Until next time, God bless.